Cell Chemistry, Section 4. Yesterday we learned about enzymes and their general characteristics, how they work. Today we're going to take a closer look, and we're going to start with their limits. Enzymes speed up reactions, but they have limits, and those limits help set homeostasis, which is maintaining the conditions necessary for life for the cell. Basically, it boils down to this. Anything that changes the shape of an enzyme is going to make the enzyme stop working. Why? Well, remember that an enzyme connects to the substrate by its shape. It cannot help a reaction whose reactants will not fit. So, anything that changes the shape of the enzyme means the reactants, which we call substrates, won't fit and the enzyme cannot help them. When an enzyme changes its shape, we say that it has been denatured. The word really applies to breaking down the shape of any structure, but we most often use it when we talk about proteins. Denaturing an enzyme stops it in its tracks. So what will denature an enzyme? Enzymes are chemicals, and those chemicals will be damaged if the temperature changes too much, if the pH, which is how acidic or basic something is, changes too much, or if the salt level, the salinity, changes too much. Why? Because they're chemicals joined together by bonds, and bonds are affected by all of these things. So change this too much and your enzyme stops working. If your enzyme stops working, your reaction is not going to happen as quickly as you need it to, and the cell is in trouble. We can figure out the limits of an enzyme by testing them in different conditions. And where they work the best, that is their optimal. But where they work the least, that's the edges of their limits. So you can see this enzyme works everywhere there's kind of a rise in the reaction. But once it starts to denature, that reaction stops happening. If the rate or the speed of the reaction is higher, we know that the enzyme is working more, because that's what an enzyme does. It helps speed up or catalyze reactions. What was the optimum rate for this particular one? Well, the very tippy top of this hill, if we follow it down to the x-axis, which is where the temperature is recorded, happened somewhere around 47, 48. You can get out your ruler and argue with me. I'm just going to put 48. Why does denaturation decrease the activity? If the enzyme loses its shape, the substrate won't fit, and the enzyme cannot help substrates react. It's that simple and that complicated. So the first characteristic of enzymes is they have limits. On the next slide, we have kind of an analogy to help you think about enzymes, and specifically how they are specific and reusable. So those are the terms you're going to see on the test. But what does that mean? Well, here's a little fairy tale about enzymes. Once there was an enzyme named Goldie. Goldie floated all day in the bloodstream and got really bored. So Goldie snuck into a cell. And there she found 3 substrates tucked in a corner of the cytoplasm. There were no other enzymes around. Since Goldie was so bored, she didn't want to have to wait to ask if she could use the substrates. So she decided she would try each one. She tried substrate 1, but it was too small. Didn't quite fit her active site, which is the place where she can bind to substrates. And no matter how she tried, she just couldn't help the reaction. So she dropped it back into the cytoplasm. Then she tried substrate number 2, but it was the wrong shape. There were little gaps. She couldn't get a good hold. So that one's gone. But the third substrate she found fit just right into Goldie's active site. And the bonds popped, and the substrate became two smaller products. Just then, Goldie heard another enzyme coming. Oh no. So she didn't want to get thrown into the lysosome for being in the cell where she wasn't supposed to be, so she quickly released the products and floated away, knowing she would find new substrates to bind. And now she knew exactly what shape would work. So now we are going to show the reaction that she helped happen. Copy Goldie and add after the equals to show she did not change. So here we have Goldie and her substrate. What does that equal? I'm going to put my equal right here. I get rid of my substrate number 1 label because it's gone, and my substrate number 2 label because it's gone, didn't fit. I'm going to drag my substrate 3 label up. There we go. I'm going to copy Goldie. She did not change, not at all. But the substrate did. The substrate became the products. And if you don't believe that these are the products, you can see they actually were the substrate, just broken apart. So this is basically a fairy tale that helps you understand enzyme plus substrate equals the products and then the enzymes separately. It can be reused. And the fact that only substrate 3 fit lets you know it is specific. Now let's look at a diagram that you will often see on the test and need to label. Same idea as Goldie and the substrates. To identify the enzyme, look for the chemical that has a specific shape and it helps something, but then it releases it and doesn't change. That's your enzyme. The place where it has a very specific notch and groove and fits in with some other chemicals, that's where the action happens, is the active site. What you have left is the chemicals before and the chemicals after. The before are called the substrates, and the after, the things that are produced, are called the products. On this slide, you have some reading that summarizes all we've learned about enzymes and some questions that follow. Enzymes are proteins that speed up reactions. Any chemical that speeds up a reaction is called a catalyst. Since enzymes are created by and used in organisms, these are living things, enzymes are biological catalysts. So already we know that enzymes are proteins, and we're going to highlight that. If you go over to the little highlight color, I'm going to highlight that in gray. And they are biological catalysts. And we'll highlight that again. An enzyme catalyzes a reaction by reducing or lowering the amount of energy needed for the reaction to occur. The amount of energy needed for the reaction to occur is called the activation energy. So enzymes lower the activation energy, which makes the reaction happen more quickly. Enzymes regulate many cell processes like DNA replication, protein synthesis, photosynthesis, and cell respiration. So, what does an enzyme do to the activation energy? It lowers it so that the reaction doesn't have to do as much work. The enzyme takes on some of the work so the reaction can happen more quickly. How does it do it? An enzyme lowers the activation energy by attaching to the substrates at the enzyme's active site. The substrates are the chemicals that will react. They're called reactants in the reaction. The enzyme holds the substrates in the right position to react more easily. The enzyme may even bend the substrate's bonds so the bonds rearrange more easily. The active site on the enzyme is shaped to fit only with the substrates for one reaction, which makes the enzyme specific. So up here, we need to highlight that. It is specific. When the substrates have reacted, the enzyme releases the new product or products and can be reused by another set of substrates to make the reaction happen again. So enzymes are reusable. If an enzyme is denatured by changes in pH, temperature, or salts, the enzyme loses its shape and will not work. I have one question we need to get answered. Let's see what that is. The chemicals the enzyme helps to react. Where did we find that? Right here. The substrates are the chemicals that will react. The enzyme holds the substrates. That is the one it helps to react. So, substrates are the chemicals the enzyme helps to react. I hope this was helpful. Have a great day.